Okay, so first we need to import our footage into After Effects. So you go to the project panel and you double click it and you find your footage and just hit open and you'll see your movie clip open up in the project panel. And we can make folders to sort things out, but for now we've only got a few files, so we don't really need to do that. We need to make a composition. So we hit create new composition and you can call it your taxis or whatever you want to call it. Make sure the settings are what you would output for YouTube or something. So 1080 HD TV is good. And then the time we can change later. I'm going to change my time to 30 seconds. By default, that's what it should be. So you should have 30 already. And then I'll go OK. So that's my comp. And I can see a comp appear down the bottom here on the playhead. And it's opened up my comp straight away. And then if you drag your footage down onto the playhead to the beginning of the playhead, so you start at frame 1, you should then see the clip. And your graphics card might not cope. If it doesn't cope, you go to View and you change the resolution to 1/4 and you should be able to see the footage. Another thing you can do, you can, down the bottom here, you've got a little scrub. You can, on the landscape panel, you can move, so you can see more footage. Right, so what we're doing is we're animating a bit of text that's really basic, just basic text, animating it onto the screen. So you might want to position your clip so you can see the taxis. So it's going to be about New York taxis. So you just get up the top here, you can see you've got the type tool. As soon as you click anywhere on the panel out here, the viewing panel, you can start typing. So I can write New York taxis, and you can adjust the text over the right hand side. You've got your tracking here, so you can make the text a bit closer or further apart. You can change the scale of the text here, make it a bit bigger or smaller. And when you start using the text tool, you'll have the default colors, which are black and white, and you won't even have an outline. So your text will just be white and it won't have an outline. So what you need to do is change the color of the fill. So if you select the fill, and then if you use the eyedropper tool, you can select the taxi, drag it over the top of things on the screen, and it'll select the color you drag it over, and change the text. If you double click the color, you can do the same thing. You've got a little eyedropper, you can drag it over the top of the taxis and get the right yellow that you'd like, and then go OK. And then the outline is this little a stroke color, it's called. It's in a box behind the fill. If you click that, activate it, and then you can use the eyedropper, change that color, maybe make it red. You can't see it right now because it doesn't have any thickness. It's 0 pixels thick. So over here on the right hand side, you just bump that up so you can see it. All right, so that's the text. Now the next thing that I was suggesting was to change the pivot point. So you can see inside the text, there's, in the layer where I've created the text, there is a place that I can change the anchor point. So in transform, there's anchor point. And I'm going to make this anchor point move from the default position to the middle of the O. So I'm just going to move that across by dragging the 0 first. So everything, all the text moves across when I drag that, and then I'm going to click the Y coordinates for the text, and the anchor point is right in the middle of the O now. I'll go back to the selection tool, or you can hit V. So now we're going to animate our text, and it's ready to animate. We've got an anchor point right in the middle of the O. And then, so what I was suggesting was that you find a place in the playhead and you key the text. So you key the position of the text at that point. So you hit the stopwatch, and you can see a little diamond appear on the playhead. I'll go Command minus and zoom out a bit, and then I'm going to go back to the beginning and of the timeline, and then move my text out so it's off the screen. So I'll just make sure that I've got my text selected here. That's my text, and then drag it out. Right. So now my text is animating on. Now there's an issue with my graphics card here, so I might go back. I might turn that background layer off. Yeah, so I've got an issue with the graphics card. Alright, I'll turn that background layer off, and so here's my key, and I'm going to key the text at the beginning so it's off the screen. So now when I play on this, if I scrub on the playhead, you can see the text animate in real time if your system's running alright. So that's the first step. And then the next step is to zoom in on the text, and we're going to do that by keying the scale of the text, which is underneath position. So I'm going to move my text so it's at that keyframe. I've got the O fairly close to the center of the screen, and now I'm going to get ready to scale. So I'm going to add a key here, key the scale, and then I'm going to get to a point where I'm going to go through the O. So I'm going to go further along on the playhead, and I'm going to change the scale, but instead of like clicking and dragging on the scale, which I can get to work to a point, I'm going to like type in a number. I'm going to type in like 5,000%, and that's about right. So 5,000% is probably about right, because we want to make a key now and make a mask and draw a mask around the O. So we just want to get it so we can see the O roughly. So that auto keyed. That's right. So now we're at the next point where we want to actually make a mask on the background layer, which is color now, but it'll turn black and white. So to make a mask, what you do is you select that background layer, you copy and paste it, Command C, Command V. You draw a mask on that top layer by going to the pen tool up here. So you get the pen tool and you draw a mask by just clicking, drawing some points. You go back to the beginning and it shows you you're at the beginning, you get a little 0, click. And then you can, if you want, you can tidy up the mask and make it curved by grabbing these little anchor points and using the handles. Right, and you can get them nice and smooth. For what we've got here, would probably be okay. All right, so that'll do. All right, now we've got a mask. So I'll drag an effect over that layer. So I need to open up the effect panel. Oops, go back to... Just go Window Effects and open up our effect panel. And in the effect panel, I've already done a search for black and white. So if you type in black and white, you'll see the black and white effect. Now, if you drag that over the top of that top layer that we've made a mask on, you can see it's turned it to black and white. So if I turn the background, now if I turn that layer off, that top layer, you can see behind it, I've got a color layer behind it. That mask is going to animate now and follow the text. So it's okay, it works at this point. So I'm going to key the mask. So to key the mask, you go into the layer where the mask was applied. You go to the mask. You can even change the color of the mask by doing that. Change that little color. And we're going to key the mask path by hitting the stopwatch. So we're going to go back to where the O shrank down a little smaller here, and we're going to key the mask. So I've got the mask selected. If I go Command T to select the mask, and I can transform the mask and make it smaller. So where the mask is, it's turned to black and white. So I'm going to scale that down and place it in the middle of the O when it was where it is here. And then here, I'm going to shrink it right down so it's very small. You won't even notice it. Okay, and then I'll just leave it. I might just make it so small you don't even see it. Okay, so then that mask grows over time and it follows the O. Okay, and then you've got a mask that's revealing that foreground layer, and the background layer stays color. Okay, so that's how you animate a mask on a layer, and that's how you animate your text. And